What up? It's your boy. Saying that kind of hurts my throat, so I'm gonna.
Oh, that's Karen. That's rule number one. If it hurts your throat to talk, Karen, it's best you probably stay home today. Okay, Karen? How you doing? I want to start off just, how do you work into a monologue you didn't come up with beforehand? You didn't have writers write your monologue, yet you're funnier than anyone who's ever existed. Well, Hash, what's your answer?
Hatch man.
Well, good question. Garth from Etobicoke. Garth from Etobicoke, I gotta tell it to you like this, buddy. I'm a big deal. I'm a really big deal, okay? Just sit back, enjoy the show. We're gonna start it up shortly here. I'm gonna go for a message from our sponsor. The letters T, the letters H, I think it's a D, or the letter before D. And then, there's other stuff too. Let me figure out, I can't remember. I forget. Let me call my Auntie Karen. Hi, Auntie Karen. Hi. How are you? Yes. Yes, I'm wearing... Oh, I've got 12 boosters. Yeah. No, I'm boosted. I'm going to get a boosted board and then another 13 boosters next month. Yeah. I'm going to have 25. I'm going to have more than you, Auntie. Yeah. Don't worry, it's a race. Yeah. It's a race. Bye, Auntie Karen. Gotta go. So that's how it goes, buddy. You're going to see some fun stuff on the show today. We're making fun of Karens. They exist all over this world. And believe it or not, the media uses Karens to their advantage. It's like the media's secret weapon is Karens. I've come up with this. Nobody taught me. I'm telling you. This is the time, okay? If people are going to war with other countries, you got to go to war with Karens right now. You got to verbally tell Karens no. Bad Karen, okay? They're going to ruin this flippin' planet. Karen's form of combat is an annoying voice. You know, they get underneath your skin and then they're calling 8111 or whatever that number is. Sad sacks have to call. I live in the city and that there's just many things going on. I gotta pretend, right? But normally it takes everything out of me to call 8111. But I'm telling you straight up, Karens be calling that number like daily. So I thought I didn't have a breath. I thought there was no air left in my house. I had to phone you right away. Oh yeah. Just remember, if you got any problems, if you feel like there's no air left in your home, call 8111 right now. Just like Karens. Karens are calling it every second. It's a real deal. Real. So, on this episode, I'm just gonna have like a light chat about Karens. We're gonna get into it quickly. I know many of you you barely had a cup of coffee. Most of you haven't even had a chance to even consider registering what I've said, and it won't register till maybe noon. That's fine. That's fine. There's a couple people that wake up cheery, but the rest of you, go away, you know? So, I feel like this is what I mean. When I get to the resort, eventually I've got to get to some sort of resort. Even if it's a resort in Las Vegas, okay? If anyone is kind of crabby, they don't get to hang out with me. So I like smiles all day. I'm a rough dude. Let's say that somebody else comes by just before you had snotted me. I'm going to let them stab you. You understand? You're getting stabbed. I'm not protecting you. So you got to choose wisely. And if you live with a Viking or you sit near a Viking or if you've ever talked to a Viking, make sure you're very careful around a Viking because it's a different world. We didn't grow up in these sad little places most of you grew up in. I walked out of that in diapers. I was like, yeah, you know what? I don't even need my diaper today. You have to totally understand. I do not. There's no Karen. There's no Karen's husband that can ever. I stomp out Karens for fun. You might sit there and get into it with a Karen. I just smear a Karen right into the pavement, dust it. You know what I'm saying? Do you like Karens? Is the skill testing question of the day. I expect to see the first. We've never had a no in the poll before as the answer. I'm telling you, the answer is obviously no. Do you like Karens? apostrophe S. We're going to give Karen's apostrophe S. But let's see if we can do this here. Yes or no. We're going to put no. I can't vote. I pretend like I can vote. I put it on the no button and then I hit start the poll. It's 0-0. Karens have a fair shot for the first time ever in their life. See, what we don't do is what Karens do, right? We don't rig polls. We ain't setting it up so Joe Biden wins the election. You know, a bunch of banker Karens out there. I think banker Karens are the funniest of them all. I ain't playing. Banker Karens and royal Karens. Royal Karens are the funniest, but banker Karens, they take the cake. There are corporation Karens. I mean, anyone who, basically, you have to ask yourself at the end of the day, if you're a corporate Karen, you know, have you ever shoveled rocks? That's going to separate you from, you know, the Karens. Karens might have forced you to get 12 boosters, you know, but now they can't, right? At least not until, you know, the next tyrant comes in. So just remember, everybody, you know, the world is based around who you congregate with, right? If everybody hung out with bosses in the corporation, do you think the corporate world in every industry would have went the way it did? Because there were a few that didn't, right? Do you know that? But you don't know that. They don't want you to know that. But there was a couple people that had choices, but you had to be in the right industry. Okay? Now, moving on. Anybody ever had Christmas with a Karen? Oh, raise your hand. Now, I can't see your hand, but I'm guessing a lot of you raised your hands. If you have any Karen Christmas stories, pop them in the chat now. I'm just getting stuff ready here. I don't know if you know what that means or not. And trust me, I don't even. So, we're going to talk about Christmas Karens. With my Christmas suit on, it's going to be good. Christmas Karens are interesting. They fool you, right? They're happy. They might get you a shitty gift. They throw something at you. You never thought, you don't get Karen's gifts, number one. You don't even really talk to Karens, but Karen runs up to you, oh, it's been so long since I've seen you, oh my God. And you're like, what? Oh, Karen, how you doing? You move on, right? And Karen's like, oh, hang on, I got something in my Ford Fiesta for you. Oh, okay. Oh, hang on. My boyfriend Chad has something for you in his Jeep. Hang on. Can you take your hat off for my boyfriend Chad? Hey, Chad's really curious what your hair looks like this Christmas. I'm like, yeah, I bet he is. How you doing? Oh. Sometimes I want to tell people, just go watch my YouTube channel, but then they're gonna get notified that they are Karens, in fact, right? So you gotta make sure people understand that just because you swear. Do you know Karens swear? Karens use swears when Karen swears, it makes you feel uncomfortable, right? When a Viking swears, you get scared, right? It's a big difference, right? Karen swears, you get like your balls itch, you know, you get a rash on your bum. When a Viking swears, your nuts shrivel up into tiny raisins and you forget you're a man, eh? So, where I come from, the land of the gods. You don't have to believe me, but I'm telling you, okay? I've been around and I saw the level of people I have here on this plane of existence with. I am by far the god of this existence. What? I'm serious. I got that Karen God mentality, eh? Now, I will say this. I am actually, a demigod. You know what a demigod is? You don't have to. I'll tell you. So, my father was Zeus. My other father was Jeebus Christ. Hey, you can make up whatever you want. If you guys are religious, my dad's Jesus, eh? So, you guys can live how you want, but I see the world differently. And I believe that I am more, not than you, well, than you act. right? Then you allow yourself to think you are, right? Which is fine. Some people think just because they got the great bod, that's the full god thing. It's actually not. You may be starving yourself, or you may be using roids, right? There's catalysts to get you there, or not to get you there, but to keep you from being too pillowy around the edges. But one of the biggest things, Hercules had muscles, but he wasn't necessarily the strongest person. What Hercules had as a demigod was intelligence. So he would outwit and outsmart all of his enemies, all of his opponents, right? So, yeah, Herc was very strong, but he wasn't stronger than some of his foes. He couldn't overpower even some of the biggest beasts and monsters, but he could outsmart them, right? So, and he won the fight with his brains and his bronze. You get me? So, you have to understand, as hash info, I am Herc times 10, yo. I'm like 10 Hercs. That guy didn't have computer in his day. You know what I'm saying? I had computer halfway through my life. So here I am. Computer info, right? Hey? I seen Bruce Lee fight. I seen some dudes spar and stuff, you know? And then I seen some dudes really get into it, just where I'm from, like in my community. And also been into it. And got a good memory. And I learned from my mistakes, right? It's very hard for me to even make a mistake, but if I were to, I would learn from it. I've never done it yet, but I have heard you can learn from your mistakes. I just am so perfect, I've never made one. Hey? Karen's fear me. So, now that that's taken care of, I had some awesome here, and then I went and did this, so we're just going to collect it again. Got it. Now we're going to go for... I mean, really, at this point, I'm thinking I should just squish something. Kind of perturbed here, so I just made a cup of tea. I'm going to drink this. A little bit perturbed here. I don't have a nice, hey, how you doing, ready for me, but we're going to get that going this morning. I see, I see it's possible for me to get it going. So... everybody wants sleep streams. I'm not really doing sleep streams anymore. If I do one, it's not for, it's not because somebody's telling me to do a sleep stream. It's because I'm actually tired. But I get too many goofs in the chat. They're like, hey, Hash, do a sleep stream. I'm going to super chat you so big. And then I did a couple sleep streams, and they're like, hey, Hash, that was awesome. In a couple weeks, I'm going to super chat you so big. I'm like, what? So I've given up on, I've actually considered banning and blocking a couple people that said they're super chatting and never did it. Just because I think you're a troll, and I think you're trolling. Now, I was wrong before. Same dude, actually. I don't know if he's... I don't know what's going on, but just bad with money or what, but... I almost want to consider banning you. And I thought I did ban you, but somehow you came back. So I don't know if you work for Google... or what, but somehow you got through my ban, which I've never seen that before. I didn't say anything as it happened. I wanted to test you, but now I'm pretty sure I think you work for Google. Oh, you see what I did there? That's called outing them. So, I don't know how that goes or what's really up with that, but there's some people out there I definitely would never trust. I'll be real with you. I'll be super real. And don't think I'm scared of you. It's just, if I give up any ground, that's me trusting you, right? So I don't give up any ground if I don't trust you. Nothing. I lose nothing as long as I never put my trust in you. And trusting someone is a big deal, right? Jeez. There's some sick and sadistic people out there that will do anything for $1. And trust is something I don't give people. I don't like people that talk about my location, where I'm going, where I'm going to be. There's no need for you to parrot where we're going. No need. And that's actually a way, like I said, GPS tracking, pigs, you know, GPS. They semi-truck people all the time. So I'm not, you know, if that were to ever be the case, let's just say that we would turn this place upside down. And I say we, I mean my guardian angel, myself, would go to the people that are supposed to, you know, always be there for me, that told me, They got my back. Like I'm an old guy, but I was a young guy once, and I made some really cool friends who have a lot of power now. They had a lot of power then, but they're even more powerful now. I'm not allowed to talk about them. I never use names. And nobody understands really the people that I know, right? So, but I hang out with some pretty important people, and I know that there are people that would love to be, you know, hanging out with these people that I've hung out with before. But it's not just all about the money, right? It's not about. I like my life was different. They came to see me for different reasons, and they couldn't really hardly. They probably could have because of how rich they were, but they didn't. They never lived like me. They never had, you know, buckets full of bubble before. They've never seen buckets full of bubble until they met me. So, I mean, there's other buckets we had too, but I'm just telling you, like, there has never been anything like what I've become, or could, you know, could easily fathom, right? So, there's a lot of people out there that think acting a fool is cool, but when you act a fool, you kind of you're a Karen for a minute, right? You're acting like a Karen. So take this opportunity to tell you that Karens aren't allowed here, but we do entrust that everyone here will always be on their best behavior and try to chill, right? All right, we're back. So, anybody has any horror stories about a Karen in the Christmas community? You can pop it in the chat. Karens. When I think of Karens, I think of people who live stream in the dark. You know, somebody goes live, and somebody joins them on panel. You can't read what's on their hat, or you can't make out anything in their house or in their apartment that they're in, or the little tiny square they're in. If they're live streaming in the dark, they're related to a Karen. They could possibly have the middle name Karen, even if they're a dude. I met 7 dudes named Karen. First name was like Josh or Steve or Darren, Derek. There's a bunch of Karens I have come across or heard about in the last couple months, 2 years, 3 years. They out there. So trust me when I say Karen's incognito, baby. And you want to be ready for a Karen at any given time. You never know where a Karen's going to pounce out you. Just jump out at you and try and get you vaccinated. Okay? Just vaccinate you. Karens be vaccinating people. Karen's trying to take the law into their own hand, I heard. They're just running around with boosters for people right now. It's for your own good, she said. So, I don't know about you, but like if I was trying to spread something, I would spread it through spreading it. You know what I mean? So it's like pretty obvious that if you think about it, that was probably how it was done, right? But you don't want to get too much into that because I'm too smart for really what's really going on. And there's like corporations. They don't want you knowing corporation Karens are abroad. Karens are running corporations all over the world right now, folks. Karens are in charge of corporations, and corporations are telling people how to live and breathe right now. If you're in a corporation, you're being told how to think, how to act, how to live. So that's awesome. You got to make changes to that, right? You got to have your voice heard. And some people did, you know, they got their way. They didn't get it, right? Karen's lost. Corporation 0. Guy who left 1, right? But you really had to take a strong stance, and not too many people felt that they could or knew how, right? They didn't have a parent who had ever manned up to anyone or anything, right? I get it. Influence is big. Monkey see, monkey do. I thought of it yesterday after the stream. I completely thought of it. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. So that term I was talking about how you have to live and do it, the term is nothing ventured, nothing gained. What that means is if you do not adventure, if you spend your life sitting, you will gain no information. Rastafari. And this is why you watch the greatest show that'll ever be on YouTube. I see people selling, you know, little dolls, or, you know, you do your show and you think you're such a boss, but then if you look at your show, you're selling kids' toys, right? There's those people, I mean, whatever. There's people that play kids' games, right? You can be playing, like, the worst of games right now, yo. Most adults game, the age is my age, and it's because of the 80s. It was arcades were a big deal. My group of people that are in my age range, they have the most money of all people on earth, besides the old money that's left from the old people who either won't retire or who are, you know, like Biden, you're 85 and you shouldn't be there, but you're there and you're taking the top wage, but you shouldn't be. Do you get what I'm saying? This is in every city has people that won't leave. Every job type you could come up with. Every corporation has people who are old, won't leave, can't do half the stuff the new people can, don't even know the software, but they'll pawn off all their job description onto you. Someone half your age with kids that's trying to get by, you gotta kids, right? You don't want to be stressed out. Oh, they stress you right out. That old person makes 10 times your money, and you do nothing. You're doing their job. They do nothing. Think about it. Corporation Karens everywhere. So, and all you got to do is not show up for work for a couple weeks. You have to take some time off work because, you know, it's stressing you out, right? And when you do that, when you come back, your workload is halved because that dude or that chick had to actually work for a week or two. They had to do some, and they turns out the whole building now knows they're dumb. You understand what I'm saying? Now they're kind of being forced out of the building and told they got to retire due to the fact that the whole building knows they do nothing. You get what I'm saying? But you have to take the stand, right? And trust me when I say that the same way, I'll give you an example. Listen to me straight up. This is how corrupt these industries are. A car salesman will have a conversation with the 6 other people in his building, whether it's the finance department, and they'll be like, oh yeah, this person's a yes sir, yes ma'am. They hand us their keys. We don't need their key. Normally, like, we don't get their keys. They handed us their keys right away, and they're like, do you want to look over our vehicle? Do you want to go bag ride their vehicle? Do you want to take it for lunch? So if you do these things, they're tells to what is written on your forehead in big, bright red neon marker. Sucker. So they'll take you 3 ways from Sunday, I call it. They'll sell you a used vehicle with 1,800 kilometers for more than a new one was 6 months ago, when it should be 6,000 off instead of 6,000 over, because they put on a couple pieces of plastic on the hubcaps and a running board worth $40. They're charging you 1,400 plus installation, another 1,400, 2,800 bucks for a running board, bro. That's just on one side though, ma'am. Do you want the other side? Yeah, okay, that's gonna be about 7,500. Yeah, well, we ran out of mechanics. We got to hire a new one, and you're going to pay for all of it. You're going to pay for his salary for the year. Are you? Yeah, you're good? Okay. Yeah, we'll write that into it, too, and we're going to add 10% because you're dumb? You don't know numbers? Okay, we're going to add 30% to the entire thing. You have a brand new Jeep. It's worth $172,000. Ta-da! I called a couple Jeep companies, and I was like, yo, what's up, bro? And they're like, yo, we could sell you a Jeep for 85 grand right now. There's like no vehicles in the city. You're never going to find nothing. A day later, I got a vehicle that, they swore it was going to take me 2 years to get. A day later. And it was half the price of the Jeep. That was just gas, and it was absolutely a lemon. The same year model, too. Like, the same year. These are all facts, right? So remember, Karens exist in every single industry. But I'll tell you what they do in a corporation now that matches what they do in a stealership, whether it be a used car stealership or a new dealer stealership. Okay, get this. The high-ups will have talks with people throughout the building like a game of Survivor. This is why I don't like the Survivor thing anymore, and I have always thought it's conniving. So the game of Survivor works off information. Now, if you know that Sarah from HR is in your pocket, then you can already bully everyone in your building. Do you understand what I just said? Now it gets worse than that, because maybe Sarah from HR is pretty corrupt, and she's psychologically evil, right? She can actually manipulate the mind. So she can have you go back into the office and think that everything you did was wrong, and you're going to get a penalty for what you did, and you're sad, right? This happens all the time. I read some horror stories the last couple of days about corporations and how they bully people out of the office. Right? And this is during the 4 years ago now. So, so what the corporation does, call it the VP, the president, whatever. The people near the top, it's never the ones at the top. Of course they're running and directing, and it's totally their narrative. But they don't ensue it. They pass it down the line, 3, 4 lower than them. Still very high up on the chain of command, very high up, and they'll have those ones run psyops. This is the way it works, bro. Not to mention, do you know who created psyops? Well, do you know where those people live? Do you know they work and breathe in most corporate buildings? This is how they can pretend they're somebody they're not. This is how that game works, right? So real estate agents, hockey players, any sports people that travel all over the world, 180 countries in 1 year, or 180 countries in 1 year for touring for music, these people are those people. Or their handler who watches this person and collects the money, 30% of all their money, they are the ones who run PsyOps. And do you know what 3-letter word those people, organization, quietly and very secretly work for? Yes, that's correct. One of those. It could be DI5, right? Most of you won't even really get what I just said there, because I used different letters except for the one in the middle, and I minused one from it. But and the other one is off by well, it starts with mum instead of dad. It starts with the letter mum. But and here's something else for you. It goes Kaya. It goes everything. Phoebe. It's all there. It's right in front of you. ABC corporations. I just didn't let it out that way, but I have to, because the people I chat with normally have no intellect that's even remotely near mine. So what happens is these people work for cable companies, right? The cable company will come in and install bugs in your home. You think it's just a modem, okay? Next. Oh, you got a problem with your Wi-Fi? Well, they'll knock out your Wi-Fi because the bug went down, right? The bug ran out of juice in the battery. They'll send a new one. They'll send a new dick in and screw you over with that. The world is so conniving and evil that they'll put bugs in good people's homes just in case. Just in case, maybe they can grab some info on a business deal, on a land deal. You know what I'm saying? The world is so evil. Everything works off how they can make the most money. Like they say, who started crypto? And it's come to light now who owns it. Like that's disgusting. Disgusting. But it makes sense when you see that the powers that be want to get rid of cash entirely, right? So as I make these videos, I notice that there'll be a lot of people in the chat and then there won't be people. And it's because they control who can see your chats, right? So they give your channels, they give your live stream a rating. And that rating is, see, I know people that work at Google and they told me everything. Like it's very bad what's happened. Very bad. So why do you think people don't end up in trending? And how do you think someone who has a small channel with very few subscribers ends up in trending? Ask yourself that. How? How is it they could end up in trending if they only had 5 likes on their video, right? So, and even besides that, what makes a video trend? Just because 70 bots all came to your video right away and liked your video? Well, then that means that they're not watching everybody's channel fairly and equally. They're saying some people, like I don't even know what a bot is. And 3 or 4 years ago or something, they're like, one day they gave me 0 views. If you go look at my Social Blade, there's a day where I have 0 views. And I'm like, what the fuck is this, bro? So they think that it's okay if you, like, this is what they're doing. This is what they've done. If you don't, like, you can't control it. There's nothing you can do to control it. You post a video. You went live. You made a video. If, see, I can't tell you certain things because I don't want these tactics being used by, like, believe me when I say any evil corp already knows this, but there are minions who don't get taught that evil corp will, keep around and they use you. You're a minion. You're a tool for the elites, right? You're a hate-driven tool. I'll give you an example. If you don't like Trump, well, the Karen's bankers that exist in this world don't like Trump. I don't know if you've been reading about what Trump's done and said and going to do, but he's putting a lot of these people, once the swamp is completely drained, all the serpents, all the slitherers are going to jail that's at the bottom of that swamp pit. They're all getting put in a cage. So, I don't know if you know who Nikki Haley is, but Nikki Haley ran a hate campaign against Trump. And how did she ever get that much spotlight on her? You have to be filthy rich in America to have a campaign, a presidential campaign go underway. In America, it's $2 billion is the min. And I don't think that's to win. I think that's just to play in the big leagues, to make it somewhere higher than, whatever. Like, there's a lot of people out there right now. So what happens is they narrow down the field, right? In order to stay in that field towards the end, you have to have a boatload of cash. And it's not you don't have it. You have to have spent it already to make it there. So what they do is they charge a person, which I feel America has done that on purpose, to keep the good man down with no money, with the proper views to help the people, right? But if the people all gave $1 to the good man, he could squash in, they could run their own news station, their own TV station, run their own newspaper, their own magazine, and do what all the other elites are already doing. They already own those news stations and backdoor promote themselves all the time. Now, they're only allowed to promote themselves if they pay the news station. But they can have the news station run bad feeds, bad stories, which is literally what they are, on other people running in the election. And this will help boost the others' polling ratios, right? Their percentages go way up when the news runs bad oh, well, this person did this, and oh, this person doesn't like these people, and oh, this person said this about this person in 1992, and oh, this person had an altercation with their wife in 1997. Oh my God. Meanwhile, like, there's pictures of Joe Biden doing the creepiest stuff, and nobody says a word. But because nobody can pay more money than the ones, it's called hush money. If you have enough money, you can hush people. Do you understand? Whether it be with murder, what Trump said. Trump said he's so rich he can just have somebody killed and do it himself, and he doesn't even go to jail. That's how rich he is. And he's not just specifically talking about him. He's talking about many people who live on this plane of existence. This is the world we live in. That somebody can rape your child and pay enough money to hush it. Never spend a day in a cage. Go look at the statistics of who is out there right now and who shook hands and who goes to parties with who right now. Go check it out. Go see who flies on planes to the Bahamas with Kaya. Go check it out. But they don't want you guys to know this stuff, right? So it's the world we live in has been hushed with money from 5 groups of old people who get away with murder and rape, violence on families every day. And most people are too scared to come forward. They'll lose their job. Well, then my life is upside down. These people rely on me. What are we going to do in the interim? Well, obviously we're going to be filthy rich. If somebody in a corporation does something to you, or somebody in an office setting does something to you, or somebody in a police force does something to you, you're filthy rich. In this day and age, you're filthy rich. As long as you can make it home that day and they don't poison you, or you don't get hit with a semi-truck in Winnipeg because the Bacon Patrol was out there GPS tracking you, right? This is how the world works now. These electric cars, they call it dark winter in the States. Dark winter. Season 33, in an episode of Simpsons. You can YouTube it right now. They call it dark winter. Well, the U.S. has been talking about this quietly with since 2000. I'm not going to say that time. Since 2000, they've been talking about it. And it goes like this. It's a cataclysm, a catastrophe of 7 different catastrophes all aligning during the same period of 5 months of high food prices, then no farms. No, there is no stuff available. The shelves are empty. The power goes out. There's a monster blizzard. So right now, get ready for dark winter. You'll need propane. You'll need a winter sleeping tent. And you'll have to have a shed, some sort of building, an outbuilding that you can go to in the day, have a fire, and stay warm so that, and then figure out how you're going to run. All of you can't get gas. Not only that, gas prices are so high, that drives up everything. Oh, not to mention, you need cash to buy these emergency supplies. Who has that extra right now? So you'll see that, the percentage of population that could possibly be ready for a catastrophe right now, this dark winter in U.S., is a very small populace. I'm sure they ran the scenario of dark winter here, but it didn't hit hard enough. As, where I'm from, Winnipeg is very, very cold as it is, and a lot of people here would survive. Now, I'm not saying everyone, obviously. There are the old and the poor who would perish. But I think those people that are already using in a different manner, whether it's as a blood bag or they're gonna need old. Oh yeah, and then there was the last thing was disease, was pestilence, was viruses. So that was the last thing to come into play while all those other things were hitting, right? So at the exact same moment, that's what there are groups of people who have been monitoring and checking to see if it's probable or when it is to happen. 2024 dark winter was the date, and these people use the highest forms of computer statistics, analytics to bunch up this stuff. We're talking 25 years they've had. I said 2000. They knew of a dark winter was coming. Do you understand what I'm saying? But how? How could they have known 25 years out? Unless they put things in place and blockers in place to stop areas that would circumvent or would help out. You would change the outcome of this, right? You could let's say you the statistic said in 25 years there'd be no hospital beds. Well, you have 25 years to build hospitals, right? So you could build 10 or 15 hospitals per state, right? And then you wouldn't have that problem, right? In 25 years. But did that get done? So you see what I'm saying? But the population is increasing, 100,000 people per month per state or whatever it is. So figure it out. What's happening? So, when you think about it, when you take in the facts, when you analyze and laterally collect all the data, you can tell that this has been a pushed story, right? They've waited a long time for this story and done nothing to stop it, to combat what they saw was coming. You have to understand the severity of that. These people were put in place to do the opposite of what they did. So, what do you do now, Karens? It's as easy as this. You just stop and think. You focus. How could I best help someone right now? Start with one person. If everybody helped somebody else next to them, the world would be so much better, so much faster, right? But Karens only think of themselves. Karens barely think of their pets. And Karens have zero good intentions, right? They don't have enough data. They've been brainwashed. All of them have been brainwashed. Again, starting out with the first sentence, by the media. The media uses Karens as a tool of evil. And I'm going to end on what I started with, but I want you to remember, if you enjoyed these videos, make sure you drop a like, share the video with your friends, and tell your friends about the channel. Nobody does a better job of helping out than you, right? You have to do your part. You watched, you learned, share it, right? Now, if you're a Karen, Karens don't like. Karens will sit here and troll. They need to know what they're up against. Karens can't understand half of what I said just now, let alone in the first 42 minutes, okay? So, understand that Karens are like, whew, I don't know, can I call the cops on this guy right now? Like, there are 17 phone calls being made right now to police forces all over the U.S. Karens are like, we gotta put this guy in jail. Kids making fun of me on YouTube. Did he say your full name? No, he sure did. He called me Karen. Did he say your last name? Oh, he's still calling me Karen. Everyone knows me. And when I go to bingo, they say, hey, Karen. Hi, Karen. And then lots of people were indoors, but it's like they got the sun is in their eyes. They're putting their hands up over their eyes sideways, and they're blocking the sun. Maybe I'm so hot I burn into their eyes? Hello, are you there? Hello? Just remember, you don't want to end up on the wrong side of the phone, okay? Check yourself before you absolutely wreck your community, okay? If you sit there all day and you watch 3 old men lie to you with 3 other hot chicks, the 3 hot chicks on the news can barely get what the 3 old men are whispering in their ear. I don't know if any of you know this, but they're wearing an earpiece, right? I've known this for decades. There is nothing like there will never be anything like what I've become. You understand what I'm saying? But they've been wearing earpieces for 20 years plus, bro. Do you know why? Because sometimes they gotta make sure they get that story straight, yo. All I can tell you is These are facts. And one day when a couple people are done, they'll come on and they'll have their say. And they'll tell you, no problem. I was already told, no problem. They'll tell you. But they gotta wait. So this is the sad world we live in. That there's that much evil that high up. You understand? But there would have to be, in order to get this deep into it, to step this deep into it, there's got to be Karens absolutely door to door. Like, you're surrounded by Karens. You don't even know it. You think some of your neighbors are cool, and then you realize they're about to get boosted. Like, they're having a special on boosters, and they're getting 3 this week. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I just want you all to remember that people out there do not have your best interest if their name is Karen. If they work for a corporation, they don't have your best interest. I'm telling you, okay? So keep that in mind as you live your life today and tomorrow. And when you ask somebody for their opinion, make sure you check who's their employer, because it's a big deal nowadays. The brainwashing starts in the job, but it doesn't end there. If you got a work phone, they brainwash you all evening. You got little chats here and on the cool chats with Chads and Karens. My wife told me Chads or Karens. I call dudes Karens. But if you want to throw it out there, you got some Joshes and some Dereks and Darrens who are absolute Karens. They don't realize, you know. You shouldn't be messing around. The world is run almost entirely by corporations in 2024. Do you think there can be a change by 2030? Do you think we can have corporations doing nothing to intervene with our society today at this very moment? Seems like everyone's on the same page but the people who are supposed to be living. Right? Corporations are all on the same page. Nobody talks about this either, which is really disgusting, but it shows the cowards that are. This is why I call most people who work in corporations Karens. Because if you've uncovered something and you know it's that big, why have you not said anything yet? If you have such good intentions all your life, why have you cowered? Turned, tucked tail, and cowered now, right? One of the biggest ways of protesting is to just say no. It's to actually not do what they want you to do, right? Which means you have no rights. It means you're a slave, right? So then you take that part to court. So does anyone know Trudeau just got called a tyrant by the courts of Canada? So I got to run a separate stream. Trudeau was called a tyrant, and Trudeau is running again in the next election. And I don't know how crazy this guy is, but he has apparently lost his mind if he thinks anyone in Canada is going to vote for him. So he basically ruined the Liberal Party. Like, he should have to resign and step down as Liberal leader, because the Liberals will never be in power again. Never. The Liberals will never gain power in Canada again. I will make sure of it. I will make sure that the world understands from now on that the Liberals are out. The NDP is out. They sided with the Liberals. The NDP can never be trusted. There's a guy from, the NDP, whoever he is, that one dude, he should resign alongside Trudeau, because the two of them were in cahoots, and it's the two of them's fault. So we need to make sure that gets handled, right? eventually this will get handled, but it's hard to arrest people when they basically have the upper hand with CSIS and some other agencies. And just the chiefs of police, I mean, they really still kind of do the bidding of the, the prime minister. It's a sick world we live in. Remember I told you how Trump could do this and that? Well, US and Canada are barely different. We differ by British rule, right? So we fall under British law. And I don't know if you know about Britain, but very, very heavy-handed. Very, very heavy-handed. So Canada will portray like it's this juicy, beautiful place to live. But if you go against the law of Canada, that even though you know it hurts the people, they will smite you in a heartbeat. A heartbeat. So trust me when I say that British rule is more evil than American law and rule. I'm telling you, way more brutal. They'll before they fully get you, they'll tell you this is why, and then seconds later you're dust. But I'll tell you straight up that there are people out there that will be justice will be served. Justice will be served. See, because they can't, the way that they once lived, just like we lost control or privacy, so did they. They too now have no privacy. They didn't understand what they did, and now that it's done, they can't take it back. It's crazy. I can't get into it, but I'll tell you this: we have no privacy, but also so do they. They have zero privacy. And that's the best part about what I just said was we before could know nothing about them. Now, the same info that they have on us, we can find out the same details to their lives, and we can know what's underneath their toenails just like they can know what's underneath ours. It's a fact. But you have to know the right people. On that note, Karens are everywhere. Don't trust them. If you suspect a Karen is in your presence, turn around and run. Walk the other way slowly and then run. Karens can't run. They cannot move very fast. They start crying. They say their knees hurt. They're whatever. Figure it out. Karens will lie to you when they can run, but only if it's to save themselves, right? Not if somebody was drowning and they had to get to him quick. Karens will only run to save their own hide. You hear me? So if you're out there, Karens, and you're watching this, Karens work for cable companies, satellite companies, Karens work for pharmacies, Karens work in nursing, in the healthcare, abundance of Karens in the healthcare industry. But not all, just a bunch, you understand? A bunch. But it goes back to the pharmacies. I can't get into it. Doing a show on it in 6 months or so once they get to the bottom of what's really going on. But right now you can't. All I can tell you is, you seen some of the side effects on your TV lately? Holy crow, if you have an earache, don't take anything for it because it could kill you. You could end up bleeding from your ears, nose, and eyes next week just because you had a headache, with some horrible word they made up that they think sounds good, catchy enough. Oh, have you tried this? Have you tried this one? I'm trying this one right now. Karens are getting older. Karens be getting older, yo. If you got a bunch of oldies in your life right now, when they chat and put the phone down to the side, you understand? Don't do video calls with Karens. They look right in your eyes and make sure you're focusing right on to them when they look at you and start spelling casting you. You need to get your 17th booster this week, oh, Mondays are a bad day for that thing, you know. It's like, holy dude, bro, did you hear yourself? So, once you got this figured out, you want to make sure you get some of this into you. It's good for you. Keeps the Karens away. Karens really don't like this kind. What was that creature that used to run around and spray your dog? You ever had your dog sprayed by, I forget what the name of that creature is. Karens don't like that smell. Karens do not like the smell of skunks, okay? Karens fear skunks. So whatever you can do, any terpene you can rub that smells like skunk on, you get it on, you get it all over you. Karens hate skunks, all right? You want to know if you got a Karen in your midst? Walk around with a bag of skunks. Walk around with a bag of skunks. You come to Canada, about 33 to 45 to 60% of the population, depending how far west you are, will love your odor, the perfume of choice for the day. Most Canadians, or a high percentile, if you're mid south, if you're nearing the border, I think it goes down 30%, but Karens are near the border. Karens live in border towns, hey? Now that can't be confirmed or denied, it's true. The majority of Karens live in border towns. I don't know why that is. They got dry towns and other towns. Karens make it that way, you know? Like, no, you can't do this, or this. Doesn't matter if you're 47. We don't want to even think about it in our town. Karens are real, folks. Karens love the farmies, though. They love the farmies. Karens are on probably like, on Monday, Karens are probably on about 4 to 7 different pills today. They're taking all sorts. They're loving life right now. They're drooling, picking their toes, loving life right now. Unable to operate a motorized vehicle, but they do it anyway, hey? They got places to be. Just remember, folks, this world is much more dangerous than you ever imagined. Just take good care of yourself and you should be fine, right? I'm not guaranteeing it, but if you spent most of your life babysitting, you know, if the job you did for a living is babysitting, you're a Karen, right? Now, if you're a chick, that's okay, but if you're a dude, I was thinking about dudes who are babysitters, and I find that just to be hilarious. And then you get people saying, yeah, but these are the kids that have had a rough life. And I'm like, okay, they're kids, dude. Like, these are kids. And what kid didn't have a rough life in Winnipeg? Every kid had a rough life. And if they didn't, probably a Karen now. You're probably your own helicopter mom. You know what I'm saying? You're scared of your own shadow. It's not the way to live. Karens have basically ruined your life and made you anxious. Anxiety will kill you. It'll make you go bald. Anxious people are bald. Men and women. If you're anxious, or you're bald. You have very, very few hairs on your head if you're an anxious person. If you live with somebody who's anxious, unfortunately that anxiety wears off on you for many reasons, because they snip at you and different things. But think about it like this: if you're anxious, you make your dog anxious, right? So it's the same concept. If you have kids, you make your kids anxious. Because you're like, well, why is it? Your kids can sense you're acting weird, right? So then you tell them, and you're like, yeah, well, I'm a Karen, right? So Today I gotta get 4 boosters all at once. I'm getting them in my forehead today. Yesterday I did my arms. I'm doing my forehead today. And you're like, what the hell? Why? And they're like, oh, because it's out there. It's everywhere. It's all around us. It's getting us right now. You don't even know it. It's in you. It's all around you. It's getting for you. You got to go to the farmies and get them to boost you. And they'll boost you up. So they boost you up, and you're like, wow, is this a thing? And then you start getting the farmy side effects, right? Nose bleeds, ear bleeds, dick bleeds, all the bleeds. And you're like, what's really going on? And you're like, well, it's that thing I told you about. And meanwhile, it's not. It's the fact you went and got 42 boosters in your dick. All right, yo. I'm going to do you guys a favor. I'm going to stay on another 5 or 10 minutes here and let you hear me say, wow, look at this gusher. Hey? I love doing comedy shows. I want to do more of them for you. I feel like I'm the next comedian. I feel like I'm be the first comedian ever on YouTube. And I also feel like I'll be the hottest YouTuber ever. And if there's any YouTubers out there that want to fight to the death for charity in a UFC closed cage match, UFC WWE Battle Royale, you can bring your Karen buddies and bring all your stalker troll buddies you stalk the internet with. Those sad sacks that have never got off their chair before will be no problem for me too. So bring all them. I cannot wait to axe kick each of you once. Or all at once. Figure it out. We'll all figure it out at the time of. But yeah. I have a great time on YouTube. I hope you have a good time when you're on here. If anybody is bothering you on YouTube, come to me with, tell me who's bothering you, and I'll fix their wagon so fast. I'm here for everybody who's good, but if you started it, if you're a Karen, if you still buy into it and you can't step away from it, you're on your own, yo. You know, Karens also have a big mouth, right? So Karens don't know how to just do, right? They always got to have the last word. Meanwhile, they're just tubby and useless, right? If you're a Karen out there, you're probably super tubby and super useless, and you think you're a big tough guy, right? That's probably my biggest thing I got about Karens is you swear you're a tough guy, right? But then when it comes time to figure it out, you want nothing to do with it. I love it. I don't like doing it, but I love it. You have to understand. I'm a Viking, right? So there's people out there that are going to claim, oh, yeah, I'm this and that, and I'm all this and that, and I've been around here and done this, and it's like, okay, just stand up, and you want to just feel what it's like to be a Viking? Man, I had dudes twice my age fighting me when I was a kid, and I thump them, you know, and they were Vikings, so it was like, you know, it didn't feel good when they gave me a shot, I'll tell you that. But you want to feel what my shot feels like? Yeah, poke a hole through you, bud. Poke a couple holes through you. So, this is real, you know. People got a big mouth. People want to talk stuff about other people. Those are Karens, man. Because a real tough guy just goes and just pokes a hole through you with his fist, you know? Boom! How you doing? And that's it. You know, you ain't mouthing, you ain't lipping no one ever again. You probably went and got a computer desk job for the rest of your life. You're a librarian, you know? Yeah. So, Vikings are not allowed to be Karens. We don't have it in our blood, right? There was once a person we thought was a Karen. They were just crazy. It was just a crazy person. Hey? Yep. So, I got a secondary one did. I got one over here. Got a cup of tea. I'll probably will do another 10 minutes here, I think. Oh, you know what? I'm out of tea. I mean, up here I'm out of tea. Let me check. I might have a secondary backup to the backup, but I don't feel like I do. To be honest with you, what do we got? Rubios? I don't want this one. I mean, a Karen wouldn't drink this, but I will drink it. This is a vanilla Rubios tea bag. Where is the pack right here? A little bit of something spilled on it. But it's these metal bags, so it should be good inside. And there's the tea bag. It smells like, I don't know, it smells like pipe tobacco or something. I love this. I used to drink this kind of gets your teeth a little darker. The Rubios is a dark. And it's caffeine free, so I do enjoy that. It's a red tea. I love red teas. I actually have a thing of red tea over here, but it's loose. It's loose tea. I actually did get Christmas presents by the way. My mom got me Christmas presents, and my wife. Me and my wife didn't. I didn't get my wife any Christmas presents, and she didn't get me anything because we said we weren't going to get each other stuff. I bought myself some shoes. She got herself some shoes, and then she got some other stuff. I bought myself some boots, and I got myself some Jordans. I got myself some Jordans too. I bought 5 pairs of Jordans and some boots. So that's what I got. I took back a pair of Jordans to help offset the cost of my boots there. They were a little bit more than I wanted to spend, but that was it. There's no more boots in the city. I don't know what's going on. So that's a thing. I got some sick boots. My boots are wicked. I won't even wear them this winter. It's too slushy. If it was a cold winter with snow, I'd wear them. I could kick them off. They're Gore-Tex. They won't get wet, you know, or they get wet 100 times less than my other boots. My other boots are not metal. They're not winter proof. They're not waterproof, so that's a thing. I want you to check out the tea for a minute here. Check that out. And put the Joni over here if you want. But I really wanted you to just see this for a second here. Check that out. Got a nice color onto it. That's the color I'm going for this morning. So a really nice reddish amber color, yellowy amber. That's what we're going for this morning. So get back to it now. So let me put this away, put that away. Toasted tomato sandwiches tonight. Pizza this afternoon. Oh, I used to love the song. Take me home, take on me. We're gonna hear that one. Karen's probably aren't big fans of that song, you know? We're gonna play that one loud and proud. I think my wife is in a boardroom meeting, so I gotta give her some time. My wife is not a Karen. She works for a corporation, temporary, right? She's doing it because she loves her family. There are people, like I said, there's people that aren't. It's just we can't get into it. We're moving on. Now, I will say this though. I love my wife. And I'd do anything for my wife. She's a great lady. I love my mom. I try to take care of my mom. I really try to tell my mom and help my mom understand the world. Not many people understand the world, eh? If you love somebody, and you help them understand the world, like, I mean, come on. That's not only is that a friend, that's someone who literally greatly loves you, right? When you fight the power, think about how powerful that is. Think about the concept of it. You're not fighting the power in the sense of fighting, but you're fighting against their way of thinking, right? You're not gonna do what they tell you, right? And this goes back to one of my very first live streams I ever did. If you've seen the movie They Live with Roddy Piper, and you've watched it as many times as I have, that movie scares the living daylights out of me so bad. So I just want you to know that. We live in a world called They Live. They are among us. Do you understand? I'll see you next time. Hashman out.